To call this meeting to order.
Roll call for the City Council meeting of Wednesday, March 4th, 2026 at 9 a.m. Council President Titus.
Here.
Brzezinski.
Yes.
Flores.
Yes.
Horton.
Yes.
Pohl.
Here.
Schaaf.
Present.
Troop.
Yes.
Well, we will please stand for a moment of silence and a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have a motion to accept the minutes from the Wednesday, February 18th City Council meeting and bills for payment on March 6th and 13th. Members Brzezinski.
Yes.
Flores.
Yes.
Horton.
Yes.
Pohl.
Yes.
Schaaf.
Yes.
Troop.
Yes.
Titus.
Yes. We do not have any presentation this morning, so this will take us to the request for repository sales. Is there anyone here to speak on a repository sale? Is there anyone here to speak on a repository sale? Is there anyone here to speak on a repository sale? Seeing none, this will bring us to public comments. I'll ask the public, if you are coming up to the podium, to please clearly state your name and your municipality. And note that you will have 5 minutes. We'll have a timer that goes off, so please just honor when the timer goes off. Thank you.
My name is Freda Tepper. I live in the city of Erie, and I do appreciate having an opportunity to watch the caucus in a less crowded environment. Sometimes we can't hear what's being said, though. As far as the curb ramps, accessible curb ramps, ADA curb ramps,
Just one second. Is Freda's mic on? It's really quiet.
I see
wasn't-
green.
Is it? Okay.
Can
It
you
was
hear
just
me
really
now?
quiet. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
There is a consent decree, and the city is supposed to be moving forward. I'm waiting for the curb ramp on the northwest corner of Burst and 23rd. We have one on the northeast, southeast, southwest, but they didn't do that one. I don't know why. And I do, getting back to the welcoming city ordinance, I would like us to think about the fact, as Jasmine brought up during the caucus, part of what we have going on is the, quote, worst of the worst supposedly being apprehended. They're not. They are people who have been legally in this country working on clarifying their status with green cards or whatever, and the Trump administration is attempting to criminalize them. And I think that rather than call these people illegal immigrants, we should consider that they are Trump criminalized legal immigrants. And I do encourage us to move forward on this ordinance for the Welcoming City program, and I hope that it is possible to move up in the ratings. 1 star is a good beginning, but we've been at that good beginning stage for a while. And absolutely, our police should never be calling Homeland Security to help with translation. If you were at the county finance committee meeting when the person from the jail talked to us about all the services supposedly offered the detainees there, he talked about how easy it is to get translation services now with technology, and we should never be calling any kind of DHS entity to provide translation. As far as curb ramps and sidewalk, I want to go back to 21 Hampton. 21 Hampton is in my neighborhood. When it was open, there's no sidewalk there. There's about 2 blocks between Green Garden and Pittsburgh with no sidewalks. Otherwise, we'd have, at least on one side of the street, we could have sidewalks on both sides. So if there was considerable remodeling going on, then they should possibly be required to put in sidewalk. The prior owner had created a huge berm across where the sidewalk should have been, and I got the prior inspector to make them remove it. But we ought to have, lots of people walk there, and the traffic along West 21st goes very fast because there's no stop signs between Green Garden and Pittsburgh. So I hope you consider that when you're looking at that permitting process. I think we're overextended in how we allow businesses to use sidewalk closures. I believe that Gannon and Erie Insurance are 2 of the biggest violators, along with some of the Catholic Church property, that they are well beyond 180 days. Also, there's been a few cases where the Erie Downtown Development Corporation has used sidewalk bypasses rather than closing or attempting to close an entire sidewalk block. Those are a good way to go. We should be doing that more rather than just putting up a sign which somebody moves, and we don't have to close a whole block worth of sidewalk if they do sidewalk bypasses. I do appreciate all that the new administration is trying to do. Yeah, we need more paving, but we need more sidewalks all over town. And I hope that the city is using all the opportunities they can through the MPO, and they should be adding these projects. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Michael Keys, City of Erie. First, I would like to say that the City of Erie is a welcoming city. We achieved the welcoming city designation. They changed the rules, and so whether or not it's worth pursuing or not, with the additional rules comes down to what you think is practical. This organization has netted us no benefit, doesn't give us any money. Their designation does not give you any additional standing within the government or within the state or with any of the bodies that fund our city or our organizations. That being said, Erie is a welcoming city. I don't know if you've seen the statistics, but our new Americans are doing better than our other Americans of color in housing, in income, in businesses. If we want to look at being fair and being welcoming, I think that this city has a lot of work to do welcoming the people who are already here, already paying taxes, and are arguably struggling. So that's just so I want to know, this is a welcoming city. We have provided a lot as a city and as a community, and obviously we want to continue to do that. But I just don't want everything to be lost on one group of people, because what I've seen is during the past few years as they roll back DEI and other programs, that the negative impact are on what they now call the foundational Black Americans, the ones who were here when in the beginning. And so it's very important that that group of people does not get lost. It is still our largest minority group within our city, confines of our city, and we see things which I don't. When they rolled back DEI, they said, okay, you can't have a program that has black money in it. Mr. Andre can attest when they gave the money to the Diverse Erie. But yet, if you scroll through some of the foundations and some of the other things, you see that there are still money and programs for specific groups. But when it was for groups for Black Americans, that's illegal now. And so I guess we have to look at the context of either the whole or as nothing. If we're going to follow these rules or if we are not going to follow these rules. But what is not acceptable is following the rules 80% of the way and cutting some of the people out. I also would like to address the Miller brothers. Hard decisions were made. We made the decisions at a discount even to get the city out of debt, because we know bond payments do become due at a certain point in time. And I was not a proponent of it, but I'm going to say that I am more hopeful now that this was a reason to put the city back in debt, because our mayor is making sure that this building is being utilized properly and being optimized. And so if it helps relieve the pain and the struggles that are in this building and the people really go over there and set up shop, then I've changed my mind on that project. So I want to thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
Elizabeth Stanton, Harbor Creek. I highly commend you, Erie City Council, for today passing an ordinance to elevate Erie's status as a welcoming city from Star 1 to a higher certification level under the Welcoming Americans Welcoming Standard 2.0. I commend that in this ordinance there is the expansion of inclusive governance aiming to reach a diversity benchmark of 26% of minorities represented in all new city appointments to authorities, boards, and commissions. Also increased to 15% the number of minorities candidates taking written and physical tests for Erie Police and Fire Department. I commend these and all other improvements for new Americans, but let us not forget the oldest minority in Erie, Black Americans. Bo Bladen, a free Black man, was the landowner of 400 acres as early as 1790 in an area which later became Mill Creek Township. By 1813, the population of Black residents grew significantly because of the Black sailors who fought in the War of 1812. In 1830, William Hemrod bought a tract of land on the shores of Lake Erie, south to West 6th Street, from Sassafras Street to Cherry Street. He divided it into small house plots, sold them at a very reasonable price to Black Americans on the condition that they build their home and live there. The city of Erie, just as it says on the wall, was not incorporated until April 14th, 1851. Something has gone terribly wrong in the city of Erie, Pennsylvania over the decades. Mr. Horton, at a town hall meeting held at Booker T. Washington Center, May 2025, announced that the Black ownership of homes in Erie is 3%. As you, as city council members, improve the quality of life for new Americans, do your due diligence to also improve the quality of life in the city of Erie for Black Americans. I would personally like to thank you, Mayor and Madam Mayor, for your February 10th press conference and highlighting Black achievements in Erie. I also would like to recommend this book, Journey from Jerusalem, an illustrated introduction to Erie's African American history, 1795 to 1995. It will be back in the public library. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Susanna Faulkner, City of Erie resident. I am here wearing the hat of Executive Director of Erie Arts and Culture, once again standing in support of the Welcoming City Ordinance. I think there's so much to be said about the intersectionality of the issues that are being brought up today. We absolutely need to bring everyone up. And we know from policymaking, from governance, that when we help the most marginalized, it benefits us all. So I think there's nothing better than a poem that can speak to why we must support this ordinance in this moment. And this is the poem at the base of the Statue of Liberty, The New Colossus by Emma Lazarus. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land. Here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that twin cities flame. Keep ancient lands, you storied pomp, she cries, with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Let's light that way. Let's carry forward. Let's do what's right for our history and our present. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment?
Hi, Erin Meisner, City of Erie. I live on the east side. First, I just want to say that I reached out to the city clerk about the assisted living devices about 2 weeks ago to see if that's something we can bring here. I'm hard of hearing, and it would make it much more accessible to me in these meetings. I haven't heard back. I'm going to email all of you if there's any of you who can help me with that. I'd be most appreciated. I only live a 5-minute drive from here, and just on my way here, not including the business on State Street, I passed 10 immigrant-owned businesses on my way here, 5 minutes. The Latino Economic Development Corporation in Minneapolis reports that 80% of its clients are open only about 20% of the time because of staffing shortages and safety concerns. There are reports that gig workers are not entering immigrant communities if ICE is conducting operations, depriving people in those neighborhoods of food, necessities, and transportation. According to an FFR News report, many Minneapolis establishments have reported sales declines of up to 80% since the surge in immigration enforcement began. Nearly 20% of businesses also reported lower employment headcounts as workers are too afraid to show up for work when enforcement actions are visible. Business owners are citing customers staying home, fewer office workers commuting, and a general drop in discretionary spending. Even professional service firms and white-collar businesses are feeling the impact, not only because of reduced activity, but also because Their employees grapple with disrupted support systems like childcare and schooling. Several hotels that have been housing federal immigration officers and staff have temporarily stopped accepting reservations amid intense protests and boycotts tied to enforcement operations. Many locations are reporting cancellations and fewer bookings. What happens to the disabled community, the LGBTQ community, the Black community, the immigrant and refugee community, and all minority communities affects all of us. In union, there is strength. ESOP. The Welcoming City Ordinance makes good economic sense. It may make new Americans feel safer in keeping their businesses open and participating in the economy. It is also a small movement towards a more just place for all of the residents living here. I ask you to vote yes on passing it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other residents for public comment?
Hello, my name is Caleb Bretchten. I am a Erie City resident. I'm here for a few different reasons. One, to speak in support of the Welcoming City Ordinance, as well as to quickly highlight an issue that I'm not sure has been spoken on here before about the issues of flock cameras. Just a quick note about that before I get into the open letter that Rye Witherow has written. It is something that is a bit of an existential crisis, I would say, because these cameras violate the Fourth Amendment. They put police officers and city officials in danger as they are easily hackable, and I will be around afterwards to discuss further if you have any questions about this. I'm a software engineer, so I am very aware of the tech that is involved in these cameras. But otherwise, I'm here to represent Rye Witherow, who has not been able to attend this morning. They sent out an open letter to all of you. I believe that you should be aware of this letter. I'm not sure if everyone has replied to this, and I will not have time to finish this letter as it is a little bit too long, but I will read some of the contents of it, which has also been signed and supported by over 200 members of the city and county. Dear representatives of the people of Erie, Pennsylvania, I am writing to you as a concerned citizen living within the constituency of the Erie region. Contributors and signatures on this letter come from every walk of life within the beautiful county. From a lifelong Erieite who was raised in some of the poorest neighborhoods on the east side to owners of some of Erie's most affluent and loved businesses. Some things are shared by our collective, but we all come to you today with a unifying concern, the threat posed to our community by the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, ICE. Erie boasts a diverse and massive immigrant community. According to the data collected from the MCRC, there are an estimated 15,000 to 16,000 immigrants living within Erie County. An estimated 11,000 of the population is believed to be in the city. The number is significant and cannot be ignored. We, as residents of Erie, must do all that we can to uplift and support these members of our community. To quote our own city government's website, Erie is a certified welcoming city, the highest designation reserved for cities and counties that meet rigorous requirements defining what it means to be a welcoming city. Erie takes pride in being a safe landing space for new Americans, many of whom are fleeing from persecution and have legal status as political refugees. Many refugees and immigrants choose to stay in Erie long-term and become active contributors to our local economy through the creation of small businesses, seeking permanent employment, pursuing secondary education, or encouraging multiple other members of their family to join them. Erie is their home. As long as ICE continues to exist and terrorize cities around the country, like Minneapolis, our neighbors are at risk, regardless of their citizenship status. In numerous cities, legal immigrants have been entrapped by these agents through underhanded techniques in order to be detained or deported. Many examples of predatory behavior by ICE agents have been documented, such as visa renewals being denied at their appointments only for the individuals to be detained outside the office moments later, naturalization ceremonies being stalked and canceled with agents waiting outside, and places of employment being raided to abduct immigrants with temporary legal status for work. Often, agents cite nonviolent and frivolous legal issues, such as traffic violations or justification for detainment, detainment and deportation. Moreover, fully legal citizens who have never lived outside of the country have been detained because adequate citizenship papers could not be produced on the spot. In Minnesota, nearly half a dozen Indigenous Americans have been mistaken as foreign-born and were detained. It's clear that the scope of ICE's work has ballooned to terrorizing, detaining, and even executing Americans with legal status that present themselves as opponents to the barbaric agenda. The guise of an immigration crackdown is being used to target political enemies of the Trump administration in the cities across the country, most notably Minneapolis. These agents are no longer following legal proceedings, and recent killings of Renee Good and Alex Preddy by anonymous ICE agents have been brushed off by the federal government with no sign of investigation accountability on the horizon. You can continue to read that in the emails that were all sent to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Emerson Bannon-Kutry, City of Erie resident, Academy neighborhood, and I'll keep this quick. Just wanted to speak in favor of the welcoming city ordinance. A lot of other people have kind of made similar points, and I was here last week. Just want to emphasize, I think this is something that will be really good for Erie. It's needed, and a lot of other communities are kind of moving in the same direction right now. There are also practical benefits to be taken, to be considered by either the mayor or city council for cooperation between municipalities, even practical benefits like shared translation services. I actually reached out to Welcoming America, the national organization that does this certification, and they said they have a welcoming network that can serve as kind of peer support between the different municipalities that have adopted this. So in the idea that, this will somehow isolate us, which was also under discussion at the county council meeting last week, I don't think that's true. And I think there are actually a lot of municipalities that we can gain from working together, as well as some prior speakers had said about the need to invest in all parts of the city as well and make sure all our neighborhoods are represented. In Academy, we don't have a solid grocery store. We don't have even a local city-owned park. There's not a library branch on the east side. There's luckily going to be a community college on the east side soon at the Burton School. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done as a follow-up to this, and I would welcome any work from the city implementing that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members would like to speak for public comment?
Good morning, everyone. How are we doing?
We're doing.
So, my name is Sydney Zimmerman. I live in the city of Erie, concerned citizen. So, I have a few issues that I want to bring forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to be exact. I'm going to start with the easiest one. The city has, and it might be the county as well, but has done a great job of replacing lead pipes to ensure that drinking water is safer. Unfortunately, when we open up the road, we have left very big rectangle squares around the city that are deep. They are pothole deep. It is not good for our cars. We already have enough issues with our roads because of the wintertime. We don't need to add to them. They have been doing a better job recently. They came back to my street and they filled that one in real nice. But I see it on, I've seen it on West 25th Street. I've seen it on East 24th Street. I've seen it downtown. I've seen it in Mill Creek, in fact, and I know that's not y'all's jurisdiction, but it is everywhere. So I don't know what can be done to make sure that they are filling them in correctly, or if the city has to go back through and correct that work and bill it to the waterworks later. I don't know how that's going to work, but it needs to be fixed. So that's my first thing. Second thing is quality of life. I know that we don't have the type of snow that we were having previously, and hopefully we're not going to have it again until next winter. But, you know, we have talked about quality of life here before. In fact, we have an ordinance for quality of life, and I believe that was done back in 2017, almost 10 years ago now. 2018, my fault. And that quality of life ordinance states that lack of maintenance of properties, littering, improper storage of trash and rubbish, storage of inoperable, non-registered vehicles, vendor operations without permits, high grass and weeds, graffiti and accumulation of snow and ice. These are things that are under the quality of life ticketing ordinance. I understand that we have people in our community who maybe they work 2 jobs, or they're seniors, or they're disabled, students. So it is difficult to keep up with the snow, especially when we get a lot in a short period of time. But I see no excuses for businesses who have their parking lots plowed out to not have their sidewalks done, especially when we have, you know, those ramps that Freda has been talking about, making sure that we have on each sidewalk corner. But, you know, to be able to get from one side of the street, I have had to go through and businesses on my block and clean up their messes because they might shovel the sidewalk, but they don't shovel that exit or entrance. So it can be up to your knee, or, you know, so you're trying to walk over it or you end up walking in the street. Both aren't good options. So I think that we should use our power as a city and ticket the people who can afford to pay those tickets, because obviously they can afford to clear out their parking lots. So if you can afford to do that, you should have somebody out there on the sidewalks. If somebody who has had 2 back injuries can get out there and shovel, I think somebody else who is a, you know, fully capable, especially larger than me, man who I've seen outside these businesses, can definitely get out there and shovel. And that's not everybody. I know that men aren't the only ones who work or shovel. So, okay, 2 more, I think we got 2 more things. 3 more things. All right, so another ordinance that we have is for parking meters. Our parking meter ordinance reads that a parking meter is defined as a mechanical device which shall indicate thereon the length of time during which a vehicle may be parked in a particular place or space, which shall have as a part thereof a receptacle or a chamber for receiving and storing coins of United States money, a slot or place in which such coins may be deposited, a timing mechanism to indicate the passage of the interval of time during which parking is permissible, and which shall also display an appropriate signal when the aforesaid interval of time has elapsed, and which device shall contain on the outside thereof brief instructions as to its operation and a schedule of parking meter rates and time of operation. When we have the easy meter signs out there that don't have the time period of which the ticketing occurs, when we don't have a mechanical device that coins can be inserted into for people who had a dead phone or don't have a smartphone, or maybe they don't have a debit card or a credit card, they have cash, they have coins, and that's what they can utilize, and that's what they're used to utilizing for parking, then we need to adhere to our own rules, because ticketing people for breaking a rule that doesn't exist is not okay. Okay. Third thing, the SAVE Act. I'm not sure how much, okay. I can talk to y'all afterwards. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anybody else here for public comment? Anyone else for public comment? Anyone else for public comment? Okay, we'll go ahead and move on.
Ordinances for final passage. Council file number 16596, official ordinance 17-2026, an ordinance amending the rules of council ordinance of the City of Erie under Article 112, specifically 112.16, entitled Seminar and Conference Reports to streamline and/or update the rules of council to reflect current practices. Sponsored by Councilmember Titus, seconded by Councilmember Schaaf, that Council File Ordinance Bill Number 16596, and now known as Official File Ordinance 17-2026, be finally passed by City Council. Members Brzezinski?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Horton?
Yes.
Pohl?
Yes.
Schaaf?
Yes.
Troop?
Yes.
Titus?
Yes.
City Council pass Official File Ordinance 17-2026 finally by yea 7, nay 0. Council file number 16597, official ordinance 18-2026, an ordinance...
Lori, 1 second. I apologize before we go into reading. I just want to get clarification from the solicitor as to when I would make the request to do a friendly amendment.
I think you should do it now.
All right, I shall do it now. I would like to then seek a motion for a friendly amendment, adding a letter G under subsection 137.03 that should read, "The city shall seek to collaborate with other governing bodies in carrying out this ordinance."
I'll second the motion.
You can go ahead and call for the vote on that
Vote
unless
on
there's
the
discussion
On the amendment.
Tyler.
on the
Vote
amendment.
will be on the amendments.
We're going to discuss, no, we have time to discuss. We're going to vote, then I will vote on the amendment, and then vote on the entire ordinance.
Any discussion on the amendment?
I think the discussion would be surrounding the amendment. If you have any question about the verbiage in the amendment, but other than that, I don't think it's a lot. The discussion should take place when you read the ordinance and get ready to vote on it.
All right, so then we'll go ahead and call for the vote on the amendment motion.
Voting on the amendment, Councilmember Brzezinski,
Yes.
Flores.
Yes.
Horton.
Yes.
Pohl.
Yes.
Shaw.
Yes.
Troop.
Yes.
Titus.
Yes.
Friendly amendment passes, yea 7.
So now we will go into voting with the friendly amendment included. This will be the ordinance in front of us with the new language.
Mr. President?
She has to read the
Yes,
ordinance
first.
before you do discussion, because you just voted on the amendment, and she should read the ordinance into record, and then you would go, you would go into discussion in the vote.
If you want to go ahead, Lori, and read.
Okay, 16597, official ordinance 18-2026. An ordinance of the City of Erie hereby establishes Article 137, which outlines the city's goals to obtain and/or maintain status as a welcoming city under the Welcoming America guidelines, and the city's rights and/or responsibilities as part of the Welcoming City under the Welcoming America program. Discussion.
At this point, Councilor Brzezinski, did you have a?
Yes, this is a very, very tough situation, because I know it's going to go 6-1 if I vote negative on it. This is an agenda-driven thing, and it's outside what we should be doing. Council, as a council, has one major job, and that's the fiscal look at the budget, to use the money the best way we can. I haven't spoken to the police chief, but I have a very, very high regard for the entire police department. I don't think they need to have a hesitation when they're doing their job. If they're pulling over somebody with illegal plates or whatever, a hesitation in a bad area could get their head shot off. Being melodramatic in a way, but think about the things we're talking about. There's a huge difference between an immigrant, a refugee, and an illegal. I can't get over the illegal part. I will fight for every immigrant, refugee that is in process or whatever to be an American citizen with us. But I don't want any handcuffs on our public safety people. And I will go on record as that. I'll be a negative, but I'll be Ed Brzezinski, and I will always be speaking from my mind and my heart, not just my heart. Thank you.
Any other councilors?
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
Mr. President? Thank you so much. I'm fully supportive of this. I'm excited to support it, in fact. And while it's true that one of our major responsibilities, if not the major responsibility that we have, is appropriation, I think that part of our oath taking is that we're also ambassadors, and we should reflect all things good about the city of Erie. And one of the things that's good about the city of Erie is that, former Councilman Keyes said, is that we are a very welcoming city, and we don't get the credit that we deserve sometimes. This is a step we're trying to get some of that credit. We're so welcoming, in fact, that people dump send us your poor, your huddled masses. they dump them to Erie. And so while this regulation, this action does not in any way block or stop City of Erie police officials or anyone else, federal government included, from doing their job. It just simply doesn't. What it does say is it reaffirms that our police department will do their job. In fact, do their job, and their job is to enforce the laws of the state and not federal law. And so it's starting to irritate me a little because I hear the laws and the things and the intent being suggested that it's something else, even from over at the county. I hear people say, well, the county didn't do this, or they're not taking federal prisoners into the 18th and Ash facility, which is not true. What it says is that we expect everybody to follow the law, including the federal government, and that if you have a judicial warrant, not an administrative warrant, bring them down. And so I got a chance to witness first class this morning, being woke up by some of that action. And I didn't see our officers do anything less other than honorable work. They didn't impede, they didn't interfere, they didn't do anything. They came and did the accident report as they were supposed to. They came and did the laws that were on our books and falls under their scope of work and their responsibilities. I think that Erie is a welcoming city. We got a lot of work to do. This is part of that work. And I'm going to say one last thing that I probably should wait and say at the end when I do my report, but I feel that I need to say it now. This isn't an us and them thing with New Americans and black people either. And yeah, black people have really borne the brunt any rights that any New American, immigrant, trans, gay, LGBTQ, any rights that you have on the backs of black people in the civil rights movement. And so right here in Erie, where we've had 250 years of redlining, this city, not some other city, where they've defunded, failed to fund, it's a battle over resources. And I lived in another community, and we better speak about it. We better speak about it openly. I lived in another community in Los Angeles where I seen the Asian community and the black community come to really tough times about New Americans or those communities taking resources out of the black community and not hiring black people or the people who live there, hiring students and people who look like them. Maybe that's their business practice. But you shouldn't be allowed to just, and I don't think black people in this city, we're not 9% of the population anymore. Blacks and Latinos are like 1/3 of the city proper. That ain't even counting the 6, 7, 8,000 new Muslim Americans in here who are really the heroes of the city. And so we don't appreciate trying to pit black and brown communities against each other. And yeah, we have some discussions that we have to have with all those entrepreneurs, all those corner stores that are in our neighborhood that are putting vending machines and crack pipes and poker machines in our neighborhood and extracting resources. And so that conversation is coming. But this bill right here, this ain't it. We welcome in here. We want to cover anybody who comes here. I don't think that there's nothing illegal about it. It says there are classes. We went over it in caucus. There are classes that say what legal is and what legal isn't. And we're just saying simply that we'll follow the law here in Erie. And the Erie is committed to following the law, and we're doing so by presenting this action. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I just wanted to comment that I'm in favor of us voting on a welcoming city. As America, we are a melting pot, and we are full of immigrants. I just find it particularly interesting that at this time, based off of what federally is going on, they're breaking the law every day, but yet we want to sit here and act like judge, jury, and prosecutor. So I'm in favor of being on the right side of history, and I know that when we get past this, people will be remembered on where they were and how they acted and who they stood up for. And as a community of immigrants, I will always advocate for immigrants because in the 90s, my father came here as a Mexican immigrant. and he got his citizenship. And he was probably one of the only people who would speak Spanish in certain times of the day, and I had to be his interpreter because he was embarrassed to speak his native language. And he probably still has my siblings doing the same thing for him today, even though he's been in this country for 20 plus years and probably speaks better English than most Americans do. But that's neither here nor there. I just know that with us saying that our city is going to continue to be welcoming, our residents will feel safe. DACA members of our residency will continue to have something to look forward to, that we will move past this. DACA recipients came here as children. They are technically legal, but yet things on the federal level continue to change. So it's harder to get your approvals, it's harder to get your paperwork done, and they're continuously changing the rules. So the proper way to become a legal citizen is no longer the proper way because they're changing the proper way. And if you actually spoke to an immigrant lawyer, you would know that. So I just need our residents to know that some of us do hear you, we see you, and we understand that not every day is an easy day, but those of us who might be a little bit newer to when our family came here to America are definitely advocating.
In affirming Dr. Titus's ordinance, it was my understanding that the Erie Police Chief, the police department was affirming along with the mayor. Thank you.
Yes. Just in closing, I just wanted to make a clarification point on this. I do think that there was a notion that this is agenda-driven, which I rebuke that notion that this is agenda-driven. This is something that we needed as part of our welcoming city application. This is being done in other cities, and I think that this is quite fiscally responsible of us in outlining and also assisting our police and verifying and clarifying the roles. There is a lot of rightfully so, anger and hurt and fear that is in the community, and I think this ordinance passing helps also protect not just our residents, but also our police officers, and verifying that they are doing what their roles are in all of these processes. So I think having this present creates a safer community for all the parties that we are discussing. With that, if there's no other comments, I would like to call.
I just want
Go
to
ahead.
add one more thing. Previous councils have already passed 2 resolutions as a welcoming city. The last one was done a few years ago. It's never been done as an ordinance. I think it's all the same. It's all under the same umbrella. And we have the whole administration, police, fire, all on board. And, I think just putting it into law, as it hasn't been done before, is, probably a good thing. As far as our financing goes for our, pointing system. So that's all I have to say for that.
Thank you. Larry, quick call for this.
Mr. Chair, before you
Yes.
do one vote, I just want to say one thing. I respect my colleagues' vote and his perception, and I never want that to get lost in translation. I've certainly been on the other end of a lot of 6-1 votes, and so I have no animus against it. And I just really like the healthy discussion about it, and I think it's ridiculous to think that we would all agree on everything all the time. And so I do respect his vote, his courage, and conviction of his vote.
Larry, go ahead and call for the vote, please.
Sponsored by Councilmember Titus, seconded by Councilmember Shaw, the Council File Ordinance Bill Number 16597, and now known as Official File Ordinance 18-2026, be finally passed by City Council. Members Brzezinski,
No.
Flores,
Yes.
Horton,
Yes.
Pohl,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Troop,
Yes.
Titus.
Yes.
City Council passed Official File Ordinance 18-2026 finally by yeas 6, nays 1. ordinances for first reading. Council file number 16598, an ordinance amending the City of Erie zoning ordinance to designate the Erie Cemetery, 2116 Chestnut Street, Erie, Pennsylvania, as a historic site pursuant to Article 7 of the revised City of Erie zoning ordinance, number 80, 2005, and to amend the zoning map to reflect such a designation. Sponsored by Councilmember Schaaf, seconded by Councilmember Flores. The Council file ordinance 16598, having been read, is hereby adopted on first reading by City Council. Members Brzezinski?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Horton?
Yes.
Pohl? Yes. Schaaf?
Yes.
Troop?
Yes.
Titus?
Yes.
City Council pass official file ordinance 16598 by yeas 7, nays 0 on first reading. Council President, this takes us to new business. We have no old business.
So I would ask council then to make a motion to move the balance, and if there are any separations.
Move the balance.
Lori, I would like to separate number 8 under contracts. Any other separation requests?
Any other separations?
No.
Moving the balance of the agenda. Members Brzezinski.
Yes.
Flores.
Yes.
Horton.
Yes.
Pohl.
Yes.
Schaaf.
Yes.
Troop.
Yes.
And Titus.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes. Reading the separation. Sponsored by Councilmember Brzezinski, seconded by Councilmember Titus. The proper city officials are hereby authorized and directed to issue a purchase order to Considine Bible and Company, 2949 West 15th Street, for change order number 2 for the Erie Police Operations Renovation Project. Additional work for the project will be at a cost of $250,060. The original contract was $283,300. Change order 1 was $84,788. This change order is $250,060 for a final contract amount of $618,148. Discussion?
Thank you. We just had not, we weren't able to get to this in caucus, and so I was hoping that we could just get an update either from the administration or from the department head.
Thank you, Dr. Titus. Yes, so I think many of you know that the police department is undergoing some badly needed renovations. My understanding, we've had significant conversation with the police department, as well as Lisa Gummersall from Finance and Jason Sayers from Public Works. The initial scope of the project did not include some items that were discovered during construction, mainly some fairly significant electrical issues that had to be dealt with, as well as some asbestos work. So some of the change orders that you have seen have to do with things that were not known, that were uncovered during the normal course of construction. Some of the change orders that you have seen have to deal with an addition of scope. So for example, initially this renovation project was only going about halfway up the hallway of the department. I was not here during that time. I'm not sure why that decision was made, but it then decided at the end of 2025 to take that extension all the way to the end of the hallway, in essence, to do the entire department. So we understand that this project is over budget, but I would say to you, I've had extensive conversations. We recognize we need to do a little better on the scope on the front end. We will do that moving forward. Some of this was simply unforeseen. But I will tell you, one of the things we've discussed with the police department is this will be a fully renovated space. We look forward to holding a community open house there when it's done so the community can see, and we think it's also a good community policing activity so the public can come in and see the space. So while it is over budget, we appreciate your understanding. We let you know we will be looking at these projects a little more closely in the future, but this was a much needed project.
Thank you. Any questions from anybody? I just wanted the opportunity to have it explained as well. Thank you. We could call for the vote on that one.
Voting on the resolution, members Brzezinski.
Yes.
Flores.
Yes.
Horton.
Yes.
Pohl.
Yes.
Schaaf.
Yes.
Troop.
Yes.
Titus.
Yes.
Resolution passes, yea 7, nay 0. I believe this takes us to committee reports.
Okay, thank you. Just to remind council, let's stay within that 5-minute range, and we can start down with Councilor Pohl.
Good morning. I'll keep it short. Past couple weeks, I attended the Port Authority meeting last week, and they talked about the renewal of a couple things. One for the license for the Letty G. Howard to be able to sail again, and the Victorian Princess, and also the dredging of the bay, of the lake, this year, and they're working on that to finalize. I attended the Environmental Advisory Council meeting this week, or last week, and they were concerned about the status of the coke plant, as we all are, and hopefully we work on it slow, because it is a long process, and we make the right decisions for that property. The CDBG had their first meeting this week. They had two different, one at in the morning, and I attended the one at 6 o'clock in the evening with different organizations coming and speaking as to why they need their money this year. Downtown Y was a big supporter. They brought a group of kids with them, and they spoke as to why they should keep this program going and expanding. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Troop?
Thank you, Dr. Titus. I attended the EMTA board meeting via Zoom. Really just kind of went through each one of their committees, went through their reports. So I got a chance to listen to that. I also know that they are looking to schedule some individual meetings or different things with members of council to keep us updated of their what's going on there. I attended the first Black History Month program at the Booker T. Washington Center on February 28th. I saw several members of council were there, also the mayor. I had a chance to sit and talk with her. It was a great program put on by Mr. Hilliard and the staff over there. Also attended, I was invited to speak at Grover Cleveland to a group of students as a part of their snack and chat program. I'd like to thank the principal and teacher and organizers for that event. It was a great event. Just a couple things of note. I know February was Black History Month. I just looked up what are some things that are celebrated in March. And March 8th is International Women's Day. Also Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. It's also Women's History Month. And then one other thing I wanted to bring up, and I brought this up in caucus, was the need for a stop sign. I work at Erie High School, so when you come, if you're going south on Walnut, and then someone's coming west on 32nd, there's no stop sign there going into the parking lot. And every day it looks like two cars could really just run into each other going into the parking lot at Erie High School. So if you're going south on Walnut, where that meets 32nd going west, I believe that it would definitely prevent an accident if there was a stop sign stopping one of the ways. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Flores?
I would just like to, say Happy Women's History Month, March 1st through, I think it's the 30th? No, 31st is Women's History Month. I wanted to say we made women's history here in our city when we elected our second woman mayor. So congratulations, Ms. Daria Devlin, at making history for our fellow ladies in the community. I wanted to just acknowledge that, you know, women have been here from the start, but yet we continue to be repressed. We continue to have our rights continuously tried to strip away, which the speaker, Ms. Zimmerman, tried to mention the SAVE Act, which is something that if people who are politically involved should be paying attention to, because women who have been married and might have changed their last name might not have the same name that's on their birth certificate. And to prove that you can vote, you have to have matching names. So there's just like a lot of craziness going on from the federal down. So I just wanted to make sure that people understood what's happening in our community. Pennsylvania, we have a election year. It is midterms for us. Our deadline to register voters or update your address is May 4th. The actual date to go vote is going to be May 19th is your last day, but early voting will open up and you can go down to the courthouse. I'm advocating everybody to get your vote in. The sooner the better. Do not wait. Do not wait to the last minute. It's kind of hard for them to ignore what you're trying to get done in your community. If large numbers of residents come forward and implement their right to vote. So I'm going to always advocate for us to do our civic duty of voting, because as a woman, I didn't always have the right to vote. And I need my fellow sisters in the community who are growing up to understand that, you know, if we allow them, they will take it from us. Pretty much anything we allow, they will take from us. So I'm not going to pretend like that's not where we are today in 2026. But I wanted to also mention that any of our current boards and authorities that have meetings, if we put them on our city website, you can go back and rewatch. You can also go back and watch the YouTube channel. And we did have an environmental caucus meeting, and we also had a planning commission meeting, and I believe, let me look up my calendar, there was another one. I know the EMTA happened. The historical review was on Monday. So these meetings you can go back and watch at your leisure. It is just nice to know what's going on in the city so that you're not surprised when there's a big announcement in the news. I just wanted to make sure that people know that we try to give you as much information before it happens, but sometimes we miss it because we're all really busy. So just pay attention to what's going on in our community. Spring has a lot of different things coming forward, and we want to know if there's potholes in your neighborhood, so please report those potholes so we can get them taken care of, because they are getting bigger and bigger with the little storms that we have, and the damage to our cars. It's kind of expensive, as Councilmember Shaw has experienced last week. So thank you.
Councilor Brzezinski.
Yeah, a couple things. The airport's kind of quiet, but they're working hard. We're going to have United starting a flight to Chicago, I believe, in May. And again, the biggest problem with bringing planes in is finding departure areas to land. We can get planes to leave Erie, but Fort Myers, as an example, they don't have extra gates open, so they can't send extra planes down there. So it's a kind of like a chicken and egg thing. They want to get bigger, we want to get down there. Sooner or later it's going to happen. On happier times, don't want to steal your thunder there, Perez, but the Civic Center Authority, first of all, excuse me, they are expanding the parking authority. I have a little trouble with my voice here. The parking ramp down by the Sheraton and the Marriott, the construction is going on very well. They're going to be adding quite a few spaces, which is kind of nice because the parking area with the renovations to the Sheraton has been curtailed a little bit now. So when you go down there, you're going to see a lot of cars parked all over the place, but they're doing a great job. The other thing with the important thing is the zoo. I got a note from Mr. Pine saying, save the date, March 23rd at 10 o'clock. They're going to have a media attendance type situation at the zoo to officially announce that the program is put together. I think all the T's have been signed and I's dotted and signatures there. So the zoo's not going anyplace for a little while anyway. The initial amount of money the Civic Authority is putting in there is keeping things going well. And be there on the 23rd. It's open to the public, and you might get some real nice information. That being said, Mr. Horton, I'm kind of proud of you because, you know, we are keepers of our city. We are politicians, but we are also friends. So we can agree to disagree, and everybody else disagreed with me on this one, with the welcoming city, but we still walk away friends. And that's the important thing. The only way we can get better is to see both sides of it. I just firmly believe that we don't have to tell our police department how to be policemen. They're trained very well, they're trained often, and I'll get off my soapbox. I stand where I stood when I spoke earlier. If there are folks out there that need help, call. I told you in the past, I've taken people to Buffalo to get their citizenship papers. So it's not like I'm anti-new people. Some of the greatest people I've met over the years are folks that have come here from Lebanon, places like that. Anyway, I'm done. Thank you very much. Have a good week.
Thank you. Councilor Horton.
Thank you, Dr. Titus. It's very kind of you to say to Mr. Brzezinski. Just keep that in mind because we got a lot more of these disagreements to go with. I want to thank all the citizens who came out and spoke. I'm always interested in hearing perspective. You know, coming from the county, you guys are a little bit kinder over here. So bring it on, you know, bring it on. I didn't have the opportunity to attend any of the groups that I'm the liaison with. I'm recovering actually from an automobile accident. And I want to say that I miss my colleagues. And I never thought I'd hear come out my mouth, but I actually missed the work. To be sworn in on January and to see such sweeping changes already take place just with this body. I am godly proud of all of you, my colleagues. The changes that I'm referring to are we have a more open and inviting caucus space, which I'm really proud about that because we talk about transparency. And while you are always able to come back, it's just not very inviting to invite the public in a room that only holds about 10 people. So it's kind of a farce. But we corrected that. I'm also proud of the fact that our yays can now be our yays and our nays can now be our nays. And you don't have to just hear them read our name and then leave here wondering what happened, who voted for what, and wasn't a lot of discussion on it. I like that open discourse. I think that we're elected, and I like the fact that people get to see us say yay or say nay, and that we can't hide under cover of darkness or ignorance. And Mrs. Stanton, I'd like to thank you for highlighting Journey to Jerusalem. I believe that book should be taught as curriculum. Dr. Gibbs in the school district should put that book into the curriculum. About 3 years ago, I sought to have that book republished by the author, Miss Sarah Thompson, and she informed me that the Erie Historical Society had commissioned that book and that she wasn't able to do any of that. But there is some really, really fantastic history about our early beginnings as told by mostly white Erieites about black people. That's why this whole historical library thing is such a very, very important discussion, not just here locally, but universally. I don't care how much you try to take us out of book or call it 28-day Black History Month. The fact of the matter is black history or women's history in this country is American history. And if we're going to talk about American history, we should talk about it in a more comprehensive way and not just take the historical count that we've already proven to be inaccurate. As if anyone still believes that Columbus discovered America in 1492, then yeah, I got some more stories to tell you. But I want to thank you. I think it's important work, and anybody who wants to undertake that, going with Dr. Gibbs or speaking to Dr. Gibbs or having the Historical Society recommission that book or at least highlight it. And until then, you can Google it in this society that we live in, but it's nothing like turning the pages. And I invite you to go down to the Heritage Room, not just look at Journey to Jerusalem, but look at the true history of Erie, because it's our blemishes, our warts, and all of that. Look at how the Times News depicted people of color back then. Some of the language, some of the verbiage. It'll give you a better understanding of what we're talking about, all the way up to what about black people who live here? When do we get something? County created a DEI commission, and then they told us that, or ARP money was for historically discriminated neighborhoods, i.e. black. Everybody got ARP money but black people. They raffled it off to the counties, to a project, shovel-ready project, but they didn't follow the Treasury Department guidelines. In the city of Erie, and the county of Erie should really look at having an annual appropriation to kind of try to do something right by all of its citizens, and not just those that live on the other side of Green Garden, but do something for its melanated citizens as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Shaw?
Thank you, Dr. Titus. I'm going to go quickly what I did because I want to read an obituary. I attended the Water Authority meeting, and Sydney, thank you. I'll address your concerns. I blew out a tire on a road cut last week. I volunteered at the Neighbor Place shelter, which is the overflow, and I would like to thank all the volunteers in Yuma. It is ending at the end of March, so I hope we get some plans to get those people who went. There's a significant number. It's around 60 or 65 people or so, 60 people each night. I attended a land bank workshop, a Make-A-Wish dance at the Ambassador, the Erie Historical Preservation meeting, and the former Manicor building and the Labor Union building will hopefully be approved by us. A Pack-A-Play, Straight White Men by Rye Witherow, great play. The Booker T. Washington celebrating Black History Month last Saturday. Thank you, Chantel Hilliard, and everyone who put that on. My colleagues spoke at it, Dr. Titus and Mo Troop, and the mayor also spoke, and it was a great event of community. Gallery night, Pastor Cook and Curtis Jones had the African Historical Institute of Culture and the African American Experience, great song and dance, and a nice fundraiser to get them a needed heater. And Chowan Review Board, CDBG, public hearing this week, 10 a.m. in the morning. Did my cybersecurity training and passed with flying colors. Attended the Erie Downtown Partnership, EDDC, and their annual event. Don't go out on the ice. The firefighters should not be risking their lives. That's crazy. Just don't do it. It's too bad out there right now for that kind of thing. I was the narrator for a WOW event, which is a multicultural event addressing the issues of our society and our city. Thasia Ann Munger was the producer, and a wonderful guest, Dion D. Hunter, came up from the Carolinas. So I believe in stories, and everybody has a story, and because I know this man and his family, I want to share his story with you. Donald Huntington Smith of Erie crossed the finish line and took the checkered flag Wednesday, February 25th at 2026. Nearly 99 years old, the green flag flew in Conneaut Lake, Pennsylvania on March 7th, 1927, where he was born. To Leona McMahon at 1 year old, he was adopted by Dr. James Smith and his wife, Mary Annabelle Palmer of Erie. He attended Academy High School, where he excelled in football, basketball, track. He was the City of Erie pole vaulting champion in 1945. Donald graduated early and enlisted in the Army Air Corps as a fighter pilot trainee, went through 4 aviation schools and flew in the 304th Bomb Squadron of the 15th Air Force and B-29 Squadron. Donald was a union member of the Iron Workers Local 348 and 3 for 76 years, 44 years of which he did structural iron work with the construction of the Chautauqua Lake Bridge being his favorite project. He was a member of the Sports Car Club of America as well as the Misery Bay Sports Car Club. Donald attended the Indy 500 for 75 years. Consecutively, he was a car guy from childhood, raced into his late 70s with over 200 first-place wins. He was married to the love of his life, Mary McCrell, for 55 years, with 60 years, 2 months, 17 days of togetherness. He was the father of Kurt, Dardana Lance, Kim and Chris Smith, grandpa to Kurt, Marlena, Erica, and Derek Smith, and Michael Joshua and Greg Orsini, great-grandpa to Cale, Danica, Addison Brom, Everly Smith, and Adeline Orsini Collins. And a special thank you to Mary Taylor, Donald's caregiver, and the entire staff at the Pennsylvania Soldiers and Sailors Home. To quote Donald, "I had a good time, a wonderful life, raising 4 wonderful children with my wife. How lucky can you get, Talio?"
That was really fast for you. Good job, Kathy.
I wanted it under the 5 minutes.
You did it. I'll conclude with the council reports, liaison reports. So just to call note that we are in, so every year we vote twice a year, right? So there's 2 elections every year. Right now we are in the petition circulation cycle. So that means if anybody who's running for office, right now they're out knocking doors or they're hosting events to try to get people on to sign their petitions so that they can get on the ballot. So just be aware that that's happening, and if you can help some candidates that you support, right now is the time to do it. The last day to file those petitions is next Tuesday. So just making sure that we're doing what we can to keep democracy thriving. I also wanted to congratulate the Erie Black Wall Street on their gala that they hosted over this weekend, and congratulate all those who were honored there. And they had launched a new fundraising effort, and the name is escaping me, but you should go check out their website. They would do a much more eloquent job explaining what they have launched. So head over to the Erie Black Wall Street's website to check out what they're doing. And again, just wanted to thank the public for coming out and bringing up the discussion here. I do encourage that when we are coming up to share with the public, that we are making sure that we're not spreading misinformation, and to elevate again something that Councilor Horton had said, that when we support one community, it does not mean we are divesting or not supporting another community. In fact, that we need to lock our arms, and the only way that we overcome much of the oppression is through solidarity. And so this welcoming city ordinance is one step, and I think it is also a challenge for us. And what I received from the community today is to make sure that we're taking some mighty bold steps in uplifting our Black and Brown community as well. And I hear that call to action, and I receive that call to action. With that, I will wrap up my report. Again, let me highlight this before I forget. As the liaison to the MOCA committee, so the communications, you will now see under the city council, when you go under our section on the website, that you will be able to get the information right from that website. Instead of having to come into the clerk's office, you can now access it. Once we as council get it, it is now made available to the public. So we're trying to make sure that people have the information as we get the information. And if you're noticing something's not opening correctly, please let us know so that we can fix it. And so this is just another step that we're taking in that transparency. So thank you, and then I will go ahead and pass it over to our controller.
Thank you, Dr. Titus. I just want to say that the controller's office is very busy right now. We've been meeting with purchasing over the past couple weeks and several different department heads to discuss our bidding procedures and best practices. We've been reviewing union contracts, and I'm familiarizing myself with all the provisions of those contracts, which also do cover some of our contracts and our purchasing items. I want to say I'm extremely proud of my staff, Kate, Kelly, and Meg, who have worked so diligently on our state reporting for our pension plans. We've completed our reports nearly a month early due to all of their hard work. We've had continued meetings with police, firefighters, O&E, and the aggregate group regarding all of our pension operations, and those meetings happen just about weekly. I'm on the Defined Contribution Oversight Committee, which met last Friday regarding our 457 and our 401A plans. Very interesting stuff there. I've gone through all the documents and familiarized myself with all of our provisions so we can work on those things going forward. We're actively firming up our procedures for payables, so we're making sure the process is as streamlined as possible across all of our departments, so we're not repeating work. And that's my biggest platform, is let's get it all the same across the board so we are doing things as efficiently as possible. We're continuing our department head meetings, and we're getting really good feedback. And I just want to say I attended the knowledge breakfast through the chamber last week about the future of the county. Tremendous talk by our county executive. Very, very good information there. And I want to remind everyone, again, my door to my office is always open. If you need me, please do not hesitate to come in. And thank you.
Thank you. Solicitor, do you have a report? I do not. Okay. Mayor, do you have a report?
Thank you, Dr. Titus. I do want to say thank you to Council for your work on the Welcoming City Ordinance. I want to say that I do believe now we have all the evidence we need to go back and complete our application. But I also want to add that I agree, we have much more work to do. And the comments made today, very much heard and understood. We have work to do in every neighborhood, in every population in our entire city. So I encourage that we all now turn, having completed this great work, to all that lies ahead. Speaking of that, our work with PFM is underway on our financial projections. We did a debt review with them last week, and our first check-in with them is this week, so we look forward to sharing that information with Council as we receive it. Also want to make a comment about the police. There was a lot of conversation this morning. It's good timing to let you know that our police application process opens on April 1st. I'm very proud of the work of Captain Lennox and Deputy Chief Inspector Janice. They've lowered the application fee for the police application to $35. We're doing everything we can do to try to remove barriers to make sure that everyone has an opportunity, everyone who wants to apply. They've also expanded recruitment efforts, particularly among women and minority populations. So proud of the work that they're continuing to do, and want to let everyone know that application process will open on April 1st. Noted about potholes, we hear you. I want to remind everyone to please use the CRC, our Citizen Response Center. That's 870-1111, and the pothole hotline, 870-1340. That's where you can report those. We'll make sure. Councilman Schaaf, we're very sorry. No, I'm just letting you know we need to know, and so please use those hotlines so that we can get on that. And I want to say, I think some of the comments were made about the neighborhoods. Trash and debris are on our mind right now. I met with my leadership team yesterday and really kind of said this needs to be our focus in March and April. We're working internally on some systems. We're meeting with our code enforcement officers all together tomorrow. You will see marked improvement. This is a priority focus of ours. So if you're seeing that as well, please use the CRC and report where you're seeing items that shouldn't be there. I know Councilwoman Pohl noted the CDBG hearings. I also attended this week. You know, those hearings highlight the challenges in our community. We hear people coming to speak about housing and about youth programming, and we know that we need it all, and we know that these are the challenges we face with very little money. So I appreciate the folks who have come to the hearings. We have a lot of work to do in this process. Look forward to talking more with Council about that, but just need to say, I wish we had triple the money that we have, because every single program that's applied is certainly worthy. On the topic of youth, many of you, I think, know we had our Youth Voice Workshop last Thursday at the Booker T. Washington Center. We had about 40 kids in the room. We had great conversation. We talked to them about their use of the parks. We talked to them about summer rec programming and about social media. Just a great mix of kids. This was something we want to do again. One young woman left and said, "I love all of you, and I love having my voice heard." And that is exactly what we need, and we want to continue that. So next time, we'll certainly make sure you're all aware if you'd like to attend and listen as well. To the point of Erie Coke, I do want to let the board know, Port Authority did issue a statement of policy with regard to Erie Coke last week to reaffirm their commitment to transparency and public engagement. So the public needs to be aware. The Port Authority, the Redevelopment Authority, and I know City Council are committed to transparency and public input in that process. So please know that statement of policy is now on the Port Authority's website if you're interested. We all know that this continues to be of concern. And lastly, I want to thank our Employee Activities Committee. They took me out yesterday and we gave away 4 Coworker of the Month awards to Gary Gossman. I did that one at 7 a.m. At the Municipal Garage because he was coming off a second shift. To Angie Stankiewicz in payroll, Brian Ross, he's a fire mechanic at Marsh Street, and Rob Tommeyer at Streets. I went up there, we surprised them, we gave them a plaque, nice words were read about them that they were nominated by their coworkers. So the Employee Activities Committee is doing great work here in city government, at our facility at City Hall and our others, to see our employees. So we're grateful to them, grateful to every one of our employees and the great work we're doing, because we have lots more to do. So with that, thank you to all of you. Thank you for the conversation, the discussion, your willingness to work with us. We really appreciate, we're committed to transparency. We know you are as well. So we look forward to everything that comes next. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Just as a reminder, we have a finance meeting starting at 11. Here, right after the city council meeting concludes. And then next Thursday, we have our study session, and it will start at approximately 5:30, and that will be on the SALDO, so the Subdivision and Land Development Ordinance. And then to give council a heads up, at our evening council meeting, we do have 2 public hearings that will be occurring in there. So just be aware that it may be a long meeting, our next meeting. All right, and with that, we will go ahead and adjourn.
City Council adjourns at 10:38 a.m. Members Titus, Brzezinski, Flores,